I have a very sophisticated drawing board I have brought in. It is a piece of good plywood. You could use this. You could use your dining room table. You could use a substantial piece of glass and put a light table under it. You could have a portable drawing
Okay.
that has a main line on it.
All right. This is one of those little deals you can get at Plaza or Utrecht that you just got to make sure that it's straight before you decide to draw with it. But this goes up and down. Or T-square.
The point is your board needs to be not have bumps in it and not have chunks and that it has a nice right edge. The T-square always gets aligned on the left-hand side. I know it's complicated if you're left-handed, but this is the standard. So what we're going to teach is to the standard. Like as we mentioned, we're going to teach the ABCs. You will, over the course of time, develop your own techniques and skills and go on from there. But we're going to go with the basics here. So
now you're talking about for a right-handed person. A right-handed person puts a T-square on the left. If you're left-handed, you want the T on the right. But who's left-handed? Oh, we got two.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
It's hard for us to teach you too, I gotta tell you. But we can handle it.
You got any hints to prevent the
Paper, a piece of paper underneath. When
Okay.
you literally, and everybody will want to do this at some point too, because you've done all the beautiful plants in here, and now you're going to go back in and put the labels. Put a piece of paper underneath your hand and move it across instead of dragging your sweaty palm across. Because we've all
Wearing white shirt.
okay. So next step is your T-square. This one happens to be a 30-inch, a 24. This is a 36. The reason we said no metal is they wobble more, so you want wood.
The other reason not to use the metal is people have a bad habit of cutting with their metal T-square. And even though you don't think you're going to make a nick in it when you're trying to cut things out nice and straight, you will put a nick in it. Don't ever cut with this one because this nicks really badly.
Yeah.
This is your guide to perfectly straight lines, so you never want to use it for cutting.
Right. Do you want the list so you kind of go?
No,
in order? I'm just going down in order. Okay, the next part up was your pencils, and here we are. I have put some double stick tape on here so I can label my HB, H, 2H, and 4H, and you're going to want all of these. If you need to just get one lead holder, I understand, but you are going to want a lead holder and not just go with the little mechanical pencils because the lead is so thin. You could use this maybe for detail, but this is not in our class. So, goodbye.
That's a no-no. Now,
So,
if you've already bought one of these, see, I usually just use two. You use four. I have a red one and a blue one. And the blue one I use for lighter lines, and the red one is for darker lines. Right. And most of you bought these.
why do you buy mechanical? What the?
more look
The
like a
pencil
pencil
ones.
that you sharpen?
Oh, well, that works too, but you probably want to get one of these too.
Let me see that.
This is called you used to call these pencils. Now you know this is called a lead holder. You push the bottom, and it releases the lead.
So you push the button,
Whoops.
and it releases the lead. And then it opens up like a little retractor, like you're coming into the spaceship, and you put your lead in. And when I'm drawing, I want about that much lead out. So does that make sense?
Once you guys start drawing, you'll start to get the hang of some of this because a lot of these things are thicker. Like this is pretty thick. Like if you're using this, it's pretty thick. Some of your triangles are really thick. So it's really easy for the lead to break off if you're using a really thin lead. So.
And your lead comes when you go to Plaza or Blick or good art supply stores. There are others. Some of them are sold in little tubes like this. This was a 3-pack, and I opened it up at the store and looked, and there were only 2 in here. So I picked a different one and got 3. So check and make sure what you're buying is really what you're buying. It also comes in these handy.
And these are 12-packs, so these are, none of these have prices on them. These are a little more expensive, but you could go in with a friend and maybe you buy the 2H and you buy the HB, and then you just kind of share. Except that, unless you have really young eyes, it's hard to read. They actually say on them what they are.
I
But
looked
after a while, it's hard to see. So that's a 2H, but
Yeah, it actually says on the leads. My leads I pulled out today and none of them had it on it, so I was like, but it's really, and if you use it and you touch it, it wears right off. So, and the whole point of all these different ones, it's kind of hard to tell from my little example here, but the HB is softer, the 4H is really hard. And so you're gonna get a totally different line from an HB than your 4H. And we're going to use all of these in this class so that you can understand which ones you like. I like HB, and I use it for a lot. But, and if I really want just a really crisp line, I'll use a 2H. The 4H I hardly ever use, but that's just my personal. I don't care for it. It feels like writing with a pen instead of a pen. So, there's 2 other pencils mentioned on your list, numbers 314, there it is, so I can read that. And it is nice for sketching. So if you can pick one of these up, great. And another one I like is a layout pencil, but I'm just showing some of the extra things.
What's the difference between the layout and the 314?
It's one is softer than the other.
so you
And
can
then
really
you can
get
get into
smeary.
the charcoal, and you can get into literally less percent. Pens. There are dozens of different pens, and I'll pass this along. You can see the micro has a little, really thin line up to the sign. Those were in your list. I also included in the list the fine tip Sharpie and the wide tip Sharpie. But then so I'm just going to pass this around so everybody can see it.
No, our list was fine and ultra fine.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Whatever was on the list is what you want.
The wide tip.
No, you don't have to. And Miss Travis, in her sketching book, she likes 3 different pens. Well, I didn't include that, so it's fun. The whole point is try all these different ones, and that is part of the assignments of the lettering and the sketching, is trying all these, and so that you can get to know and familiar and, oh, I like this, this feels good to me. So that's the ones you want to use. Other pens that are mentioned, a whiteout pen, does everybody know what a whiteout pen is? Not whiteout, not the blob.
never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's super cool. So you squeeze the little bulb and it releases a tiny bit of whiteout that makes the mistake go away. Because let me tell you, we all make them, so it's essential. And then it asks for a nice collection of gray markers. No. Okay, that was in the Travis book also.
If we
I'll
get
bring
to it.
some in.
And you can try.
And you can try them out. We'll go from there. It does ask for an assortment of colored pencils. There's lots, and here's more gray markers. Okay. Scales. There's an engineering scale, and there's an architecture scale. Not by color, it's by the little number here. Here's the 30, so I know that's going to be an engineering scale. And it has a 10, 20, 30, 3 different sizes times 2. There's 6 different scales on here. I'll pass that around. This is the architectural. It's got 3/16 and 1/4 and 1.5. It kind of looks, it has one side that looks like our regular rulers.
It's got fractions.
And after this example, we're going to learn how to use these scales and how to measure things. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but 2 different kind of scales.
There are metal ones, wooden ones, plastic ones, they're all the same.
And there's little tiny ones too that you can fit in your pocket and take with you. So this would be hard to do your homework.
Right.
Get a big one.
But that's good to have in your purse, because you never know when you need to read a drawing somewhere.
Yeah.
So, all different kinds of these. But what you should also do in class today is use the Sharpie or borrow a Sharpie. I have a bunch of Sharpies. And since these all look the same, you may want to put, now I'm looking at Julie, she has an H on hers. Looks very much like the N on mine. But you should put your name on things because they look the same. Evans.
Put your name on all your stuff, because by the end of class, and you borrowed your neighbors.
Yeah, and
It
I
does
stole
get
this from
confusing.
somebody named Martelli, but You can also scratch your name in things if you want to. I
So
know
the
that way.
triangles, I noticed that they had the plain ones and the ones that had measurements on them.
Wrapping.
Which ones do
Did
you
it
want?
matter? Did it matter?
We
Would they-
whatever you want is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Triangles are, there's all different sizes, shapes, you want a 45, you want a 360, you only need one for this class. But the three, they all come in multiple different sizes.
But you might buy one little one and one bigger one. You
Okay?
can always turn your, but see, you're telling them not to bring their T-square in. That's gonna be too small if they have to do some longer lines.
Right. This
So-
is my favorite, this is the one I use every day. And I've put little dots on here, then that raises it up a tiny bit, so when I'm inking along here, the ink doesn't go swooshing under and then smear the rest of my paper. So that's what these little dots are for.
So all these little tricks we'll teach you as the class goes on, because they're not in the books. They're just the things that we've learned.
We've gotten out of sync here a little bit, but you're gonna want erasers. Everybody has their favorite. I like pink.
Big erasers.
Nancy
I
likes
hate
white.
that one.
You know,
This is the hardest erasers in it.
it's that needy one, and I haven't even opened it because I don't like that kind, so.
But that one is good with, this is an erasing shield. So you made a mistake and you only want to erase part of a line, so you put this over top of your mistake. And that
Okay.
needed one is really good for going in the little holes, the one that she doesn't like.
Okay, more templates. You're gonna want some circles. Again, this is one that fits in my pocket. Here's the gigantic. This is the one I use at my desk.
Because all trees, shrubs, plants start with a circle.
Like that. A compass. You can get your $1.59 variety at the pen store. Works too. It's this nice one that came from another set. But for all those circles that you don't have a template for. And then if you don't.
$1.59
Yes.
or less.
I don't know where this one came from, so who knows?
Those are good ones.
Yeah, this is a nice one. If you don't have a circle that's big enough, go to your cupboards. You have saucers, you have plates, you have
Right.
vases. I've used everything in my house.
True.
Okay, sharpener, we didn't talk about that. So I keep mine in a bag because the lead can leak out, and let me tell you, when you reach into your bag and it's what you come out with is lead, it's just really messy.
So a trick when you're transporting it is to put some tape over the top. Ta-da! And you just need to close it back up, because if you've been using this to sharpen, yep, it's pretty full of horrible lead.
This one's really
Back in the day, when I was learning how to do this in the beginning, for some reason they hadn't invented big sheets of transfer paper. So let's say you had a big drawing and you wanted to make a copy of it. We made this mess where you dumped this out on top of a piece of vellum. Did you do this?
No.
Oh, I'm
I did
older
not.
than you are. We dumped this on a piece of paper with lighter fluid, and then you smeared it around and you like made your own carbon paper. Ridiculous mess. But you could use it over and over again.
We use
We're not
light
making you do
tables.
that.
We use light tables, where we, in our studio would have a big table with fluorescent light underneath.
Right.
And you could, but now we have windows that work the same way.
Right.
So you can hang a drawing up on the window, put a piece of paper over it and trace.
I have an old glass conference table that is now my
Yep.
dining room table, and you can just put a lamp underneath the
That's
table
right.
and you can draw right on top of it. It's like 8 feet long.
Yep.
I don't like drawings that big, but
It's
Anyway,
good, but it works.
so when you're coming to class to bring this, you may want to put something on the top. I've had students that have bought the ones, and maybe one of you guys bought this too. If you ask for a lead pointer at some of the plaza places, there's a little tiny one. Did you get that
Well,
little tiny one?
we're not talking about a sharpener like this either.
For a regular pencil.
This won't work for,
Yeah, it sharpens the same kind of pencil, but anyway.
but there's a little, it's a milled piece of metal in here, and that's what your lead is going around in, and that's why it's sharpening. A little piece of sandpaper also works. There used to be sandpaper pads. that you
Oh,
sharpen
don't worry, I have
with.
that.
Oh, you have that one too?
This was probably the last piece of mine. So if you're using a regular old pencil and you can't get it to a sharp enough point, you actually can take it on the, this came on a little cute little pad, you know, it looked like
So
about
you feel
10 of these, and you just, I'm not gonna do it with my finger, you did this with a regular pencil, and you could get a point, which I say is sharp enough to pierce your ears, but please don't.
So I'm gonna pass this around, but get an idea of what it feels like. It's got a little bit of resistance, and then that little white ball that's at the top of it, that's a little piece of foam that you can put your tip in after you've sharpened it to take the loose graphite off, and so it doesn't go on your fingers or on your drawing. So that's what that is.
I just blow it off. But and these little holes right here, you're supposed to put your pencil in there and drop it down. That's supposed to be how far out it's sticking before you sharpen it. Did you know that?
I'd forgotten that one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I don't usually pay attention to that either. But if you read the directions that come with this thing, it's like a book.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what you need to know.
Okay, we didn't touch on your brush. You're gonna want your brush. It can be little, it can be big, but you actually do use this a lot. So this one is from the 1940s.
This one is probably my second or third one.
So, so I put my name on it so I don't lose Bud's brush. Tape. You're gonna need tape to hold down your drawing. You can use dots. You can use drafting tape, and painter's tape will work. But don't use the regular, or don't use
Scotch tape, masking tape.
masking or duct tape.
Oh gosh.
No, oh gosh, no, because it's way too sticky and your board will be a mess. So don't want that.
So are those
And,
drafting dots what you put on the bottom of your triangle so that it doesn't,
oh yeah, that's what they look like.
so they're the drafting dots?
And they're just, some people love them, some people, I just keep them so I have an example.
You have bigger ones.
And your, no, same size. Oh, so they come out individually if you get the box just right here so that they pop out.
Did you buy these?
And
So it gives you enough space.
Painter's tape is fine too.
because you're,
I
you
don't
do
really
that.
love those.
Okay. The Ames lettering guide.
We'll show you how to use
This is
this.
gonna be your best buddy
Or not.
until you start doing your own guidelines with, but either you love this or you don't.
And this doesn't really work with a regular pencil, so for sure you need a lead pointer for this one.
So we're gonna use this on our lettering exercise that we're gonna do in class here in just a sec, so we'll learn how to do that. The paper that you need, I like yellow. It's called Bumwa. It's really pretty sturdy, but it does tear. But you could have gotten white, you could have gotten,
There's canary also.
oh, that's
It's
really
really
bright.
yellow. Somebody I teach with uses it.
So the only reason I like this is that because in ancient times when I did my master, my bachelor's, this is what was available. So that's why I still use it. But there's pads of tracing paper too that are 11 by 17 or 8.5 by 11 size is a nice size to get so that you just tear off and here, do your assignment on this.
One of the reasons that we really suggest that you get a roll of tracing paper, and you can get any color, doesn't really matter, is that in the beginning, you don't want to be too fond of anything that you draw. You know, you start drawing, if it's a mess, you take it off, roll it in a ball, and start over. And people are a lot less likely to do that if they're using vellum, which is also tracing paper, and you can see through it, but I'll pass this around, you can feel it. It's heavier. And so once you get to finer drawings or you start to use more ink, this is great for ink, and it also comes in 11 by 17. But for now, we want you to see all these different supplies and then sort of learn how to use all of them. So this is vellum, which also comes in a roll. And I'm doing drawings for a woman now who, most of the work I'm doing is 36 by 30. So the pieces of paper on the 36-inch, I mean, the vellum is huge. So I'm so nervous every time I cut it.
When do you use large ones versus smaller ones, smaller sizes? And what do you use them?
Depends on the project, so turn around and take a look. The third one over from the left, that was just at that scale, I couldn't have possibly have drawn it any smaller, you wouldn't have been able to see the plants, and that was the size of the property, so that determined the size of the print of, you know, that, when I blew up my example of, the structure and the property line, and I knew what scale I wanted to work at, that determined what size paper I used. And by using a roll, you can have 30 inches or 32 inches or 36 inches long. There's rolls that are 24 inches wide, and then there's ones that are 36.
Is it intuitive in terms of the size of the property? Is it intuitive in terms of what's the paper, the size of the paper that you would use? Or do you run it over time?
No, it sort of depends on what is your objective for the client. I mean, they might have a big piece of property, but you're only doing the gardens around the deck in the back. So you might do a drawing on a small piece of paper of the whole property, and then a close-up view in a really large scale of the details of the plants. At the end of the day, someone's got to be able to count the plants, right? So they can't be too small. So it's much easier to do a drawing that's really big and take it to the blueprint place or FedEx or Kinko's or whatever and have it reduced. It doesn't work the other way. You can't draw really small, plus you'll go blind, and then have it enlarged. So that's just sort of the way it happens. Then there are a couple other things that
What else is in your box?
this is called a French curve, and there's all different kinds of French curves. So if you happen to be at Staples or whatever, they have different kinds of things. But sometimes you aren't drawing vertical and horizontal lines. Sometimes there are some curves. And often, this is one of my favorite things about landscape design, it's much more likely that you're going to have beautiful curves and sweeping lines and all kinds of wonderful things. So you're going to draw them freehand, but then at some point in time, if you have to ink them or you need to use, you need to make them sharper and clearer, you can move these French curves around to whatever it is you need. There's also a flexible ruler that I know I put my initials on today, so that means it's here somewhere. It's this thing that sort of looks like a snake. And I had it when I got here, but don't know which bag I had it in. Anyway, when I find it, I'll show you. So that's one that's great. If you make a big long curve, you can actually bend it. Is there one back there, Julie? Oh. Okay, so I think that's everything on the list. Did we miss anything? Julie didn't have a list out. Anybody have questions on any of these toys here?
How many pencil, like, I did get not the one mechanical type, but just the one that looks like more like a regular pencil, and it was a pack that had all the 4 each and each.
Okay, and that's good
But
too.
how many will you go through? Like, does it make more sense to get one of those and?
You need to get one of these.
One, okay.
And why don't you, are you guys buddies?
Yeah.
Okay, so you each need to buy one and share some lead.
Okay.
I mean, not the same piece of lead, but share a package of lead.
Okay.
Because you have to get a really sharp point, which is hard on the regular pencil. For tonight, you can use a regular pencil.
And for this class, we tried to keep all the drawings at 8.5 by 11 to begin, and then it steps up to 11 by 17. And for the final project, we kept it 11
Yeah, we
by
did.
18 because this is the intro. You don't need to be going out and buying vellum and
If we do one bigger, we'll bring the paper.
we'll bring paper.
Yeah.
But so we tried to, and a lot of people are traveling and that sort of thing. So we're trying to make it manageable size. And literally, you can do your assignments on this trays. And because all the assignments are supposed to be copied when they come in, and we're going to pin them up, they're to be copied so that they're legible. Okay.
Can you explain the copying again?
Go to a copy place. I go to a place called ARC in Bethesda, and there's one in Alexandria, or you can go to Kinko's or FedEx, or you can use your own copy machine. But you don't want to pin up your vellum, your tracing paper.
So we bring a copy of each of our homework assignments.
Right. You can bring the original too, but you're going to pin up, and we're going to take them home, and we're going to grade them and put comments all over them.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't want to write on your original
You'll be
drawings,
copying a regular
because you're
paper.
going to want it
Yes.
for your portfolio.
Right.
Um,
You'll have the original.
Yes. The certainly yes, at this 11 by 8.5 by 11, you can do it your own home copiers, hopefully. I
And
think
some people
everybody's-
can on 11 by 17 too.
And, but FedEx is truly just over here, but for 11 by 17, I think though it's
Couple dollars.
couple dollars. That's not too bad, but think of the hours and don't be running in before. You have to think ahead of doing all this too.
Yeah, we don't suggest you wait till the night before class to do your homework, except it's on the weekend for this one, so I guess you could do that. Because if you, like, you ran out of paper or you missed something, you don't have time to do it.
Okay. All right, everybody back to our seats and we're gonna go
What are we doing
on to
next?
scales and do an in-class exercise.
Oh, yeah.